What's going on? We back. Motor City Sports Talk. We in the building. It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. One time for the one time. Y'all know what it is. And can the Detroit Lions make the playoffs? We was talking about this on our live stream a couple days ago, talking about Golden Tate, all right? And theoretically, looking at the schedules, the Lions can make the playoffs, but will they make the playoffs? That's a wholly different question in itself. But they can make the playoffs if they continue to trend the right way. My problem with the Lions is not so much personnel and staying healthy as far as the personnel, but it's more of Jim Bob Cooter, if anything. We know defense is what it is, but the defense is getting turnovers. They are getting pressure on the quarterback, even if they have to send the linebackers. They covering well. The run defense is still a work in progress. But overall, they want to own the division, I believe. You know what I'm saying? They haven't played Chicago yet. They haven't played Minnesota yet. And both Minnesota and Chicago don't look to be the greatest team. Chicago just had a tough war with the Arizona Cardinals while they were still winless. Minnesota, their defense is horrible this year, and Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. And you got 9 out of division games. You got the Dolphins, who ain't that good. We got them in Miami, coming off a bye. That should be help for us. Seahawks, 2 weeks removed from going to London. They play in London tomorrow. Then we play the Vikings, the Bears, the Panthers. That's probably the toughest game on the schedule left is the Panthers, in my opinion. But you also got going to Green Bay, the last game of the season, is always tough. So the 2 toughest games on paper for the Lions is the Panthers and the Packers, and neither one of those look indestructible. So the schedule is lining up for the Lions to actually make the playoffs, to be honest. We always got those woulda, shoulda, couldas. I was a few critical games earlier in the season that, we should have had 49ers. Stafford missed some throws down the field. And Dallas is a game we should have had. The Jets game was what it was. I just think the Lions was ill-prepared for what was coming. But if the Lions are truly changing the culture and Matt Patricia is truly changing the culture and they building a corner, it's going to show because the Lions should make the playoffs, to be honest. If they really been in the corner like we think the Lions been in the corner, I've seen the run defense progress every week. I've seen the defense progress every week. But the reason I would abstain from saying the Lions will make the playoffs is simply because of Jim Bob Cooter. I'm just going to keep it real. I don't trust Jim Bob Cooter and his play calling. You know what I'm saying? But positive things is coming out. Kerryon Johnson was treated like the lead back last week. That's a positive. Okay, one time for the one time. Stafford is looking more comfortable in his offense. Kenny Galladay is getting shots down the field. Marvin Jones is the one dark spot in the receiving corps, but I keep mentioning to people, Marvin Jones suffered that injury in training camp, and ever since he hasn't been the same. The word out of training camp was Marvin Jones was marvelous. Shout out to Marvin Hagler. I'm a boxing historian for the most part. He was marvelous, but then since the injury, he ain't been that marvelous. So I think the injury is playing something. Maybe the bye week can help him heal up as well. In the tight end position, we did a video about Jim Bob Cooter and his lack of knowledge how to utilize tight ends, and he doesn't have the knowledge on how to use a running back neither. So you got an offensive coordinator who can't use 2 of the most important positions in the offense in the NFL today. It's the running back and the tight end, and that's what will keep me from saying the Lions will make the playoffs. But the schedule was lining up. You talking about Miami, they not too good. Seattle, okay, at home. Minnesota on the road, okay. Chicago on the road, November 11th. The Panthers at home again, same as last year. The Bears here 2 weeks later from when we first played them. The Rams here is going to be a tough game, but they've been banged up, and Marcus Peters is great not to be one of the worst corners. They linebackers and some of their edge rushers are suspect as well. Cardinals not that good. Bills not that good. We get the Vikings at home, and then we finish off in Lambeau the last game of the season, which kind of scares me. And also symbolized to me that the Lions will be in it going into the last game of the season. And we will have to overcome demons and getting over Green Bay and winning in Lambeau versus Aaron Rodgers. But I did hear some news about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers could be putting the bulkier brakes on. So it was wrong for Green Bay to send him out there to play earlier this year. They should have let him healed up the first couple weeks after the Chicago win. They didn't. And when you pay this guy all this money, I guess you expect him to perform, all right? So the Lions schedule is lining up. If they really turn the corner and Jim Bob Cooter is really adjusting, making adjustments and evolving into a great offensive mind, or at least a formidable offensive coordinator, in my opinion, the Lions should, being healthy, should easily make the playoffs. It shouldn't even be no struggle. You know what I'm saying? They should really cruise to the playoffs if they're really turning the corner and the culture shift is really happening. If that metamorphosis hasn't happened yet, then they're going to struggle with some of these teams. They shouldn't struggle with like Seattle, Miami. They're going to struggle with, obviously they might struggle with Chicago and some of the division opponents. But, obviously the Lions the last couple of years have done well versus divisional opponents, okay? So that doesn't really scare me. One of the positive things is they get Chicago earlier in the year. It's always a terror to go out there on the win and play. But Chicago, one thing to notice about them, they haven't really committed to running the ball. And Jordan Howard is also on the trading block from what I hear. So they've been, with the pass happy Matt Nagy coming from Andy Reid's offense in Kansas City, they've been throwing him more. So they're more of a finesse team, if anything. And that's the one thing you used to hate about playing the Bears when they had Thomas Jones, when they utilized Jordan Howard the right way. When you go in the cold, the Bears can always run the ball. We couldn't. That used to be a major difference, especially their defense always traveled, obviously at home. They was going to be there. So, quite honestly, the schedule for the Lions is really lining up to be a good schedule. And Carolina ain't that big and bad. The New York Giants almost beat them. And Carolina has been more of a grinded out type of team. They be getting Greg Olsen back as soon as this week. But they not the type of team that'll blow you out. They'll keep you in the game, but they just find ways to keep pounding. And that's their mantra and win the game. So, like I said, the Lions, statistically speaking, if they're really improving every week, like we think they're improving, they should really make the playoffs, man, because they should be improved going into the first Chicago game, and they should have a lot of confidence going into that game. And I think by that Chicago game on the 11th, the first one in Chicago, I think that's going to be a turning point for the Lions, okay? Either the season is going down the gutter, going down the drain, or it's going to be a turn-up period where they're going to be confident coming out that game, and they're going to try to make a run at the playoff. But this division is far from won. I don't trust Mitchell Trubisky at all. Don't trust him, okay? Don't trust Aaron Rodgers' knee. As it get colder, it's going to get more stiff. That's going to probably need an offseason to heal, or he may even need surgery. They're not going to say. And Minnesota is going through some BS as well. So I think the Lions have an excellent chance of making the playoffs. But what keep me from believing that is, one, they are the Lions, and two, Jim Bob Cooter, and three, you don't know if they're really having that culture change right now. But when you see the culture change maybe this year, next year, I think you'll really know it. And I think the Lions are going to be in tune and be a well-oiled machine. But let me know what you think. Will the Lions make the playoffs? Look at the schedule. Let me know what you think. Motor City Sports Talk. Appreciate everybody for rolling in here with us, man. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to make a donation, the PayPal link's in the description. You can do me one better and share the videos across the internet and help us grow the Motor City Sports Talk brand. I definitely appreciate everybody. Y'all know what it is. We gone.